Hello everybody, my name is Katie. I'm an art teacher for the artists in schools, and today I want to teach you about Zentangles. To all my students out there that I have seen before and that I miss so very much, hi. This is my art studio, so I know a lot of you have asked where it is that I do most of my art, and usually it's right here. And then to those students who've never seen me before, hello, and I hope you enjoy. So today I wanted to talk to you about these Zentangles because I think this is going to be a really great project that you can do from home. You don't have to have a lot of supplies, and honestly, it's a really calming exercise for you to do, especially during this time where, you're stuck at home and some people really would like to have just something different to do to occupy their time. So this is a Zentangle. Now this one is, it's accumulation of several different designs. Some Zentangles are very simple. Some of them only have maybe one design, and it's just one pattern that is repeated over and over again. So these are some different Zentangles that are just a bit more simplified. So I know when you look at it at first, it seems like it's going to be very difficult. But the amazing thing about a Zentangle is they say that the only thing that you need to have in order to do a Zentangle is the ability to write your own name, which I'm pretty sure everybody can do. When you get to a point where you're a bit more proficient at them and you've practiced them for a really long time, then you can up your game and you can start adding in things like pictures that you're doing the Zentangles around, names, things like that. I did this one of my daughter's name, Rosie, and I put the tangles around her name, and that was just kind of a fun, interesting project. So the only thing that you will need is a piece of paper. It has to be 3.5 inches by 3.5 inches. So you can just take a regular piece of computer paper and measure it out with a ruler and cut it down. You will need your pencil, and it can be a mechanical pencil. I honestly prefer mechanical pencils for this particular project because you want to draw really light. And I like the eraser on the end of it in order to erase it if you need to. And then a pen. Now, I prefer to use micron pens, but I don't imagine that you probably have those on hand at home. Any type of normal pen would be fine, but if it gets to a point where this is something that you do a lot, like if you really enjoy this project and you want to do it more frequently, these are micron pens. And there you can see that there's different numbers on them. This one is an 05, this one's an 03. That just correlates to the size of the tip of the pen. So depending on how detailed you want to be, some of the pens are a little bit thicker and some of them are a little bit thinner. And so some of them are really great for doing very fine detail work, whereas the ones with the larger tips, the ones that I have go all the way up to an 08. If you have one with a larger tip, it's better for filling in different spaces. You wouldn't want to use a really fine tip pen to fill in spaces. So with that said, let's go ahead and get started. All right, so let's begin. You should have your 3.5 by 3.5 inch piece of paper in front of you, and you will first need your pencil. So to begin, the very first thing that we are going to do is create 4 dots. And we are going to put these dots in each corner of our paper. And you want to leave a little bit of space, so don't put them all the way up in the corner. You're going to end up creating yourself a little bit of a border around your design, and now we have some white space around it. Once you have your dots drawn, you're going to connect those dots with kind of a free form line. Now your line can be wavy or straight, it's completely up to you. With Zentangles, there's not really any right or wrong way to do it. So you should just go with whatever feels right. Now that we have our border, our Zentangle is going to be within these 4 lines. Now you can decide how many different types of tangles you'd like to have in any given Zentangle. If you want to have multiple patterns, you can divide this up into a lot of different sections. For us, because this is just a beginner Zentangle, I'm going to have us divide it, there we go, diagonally. And that way we have 2 different sections. We'll try 2 different kinds of tangles and see how it goes. So once you've divided it all up, you're now going to switch to pen, because with your Zentangles, one of the most important things is that you don't erase your pattern. So you might make a mistake on your pattern. Your pattern might not turn out quite the way you intended for it to originally, but because Zentangles are just as much about the process as they are about the finished product, you have to just go with it. So if you make a mistake, you can just turn it into something else. So the first thing we're going to do is create vertical lines that are parallel to each other. You can see mine are not entirely straight. And we're going to create that in one of these sections. You can choose which section you would like to make those vertical lines. You can go ahead and do that. I would make them at least a pen's width apart, a little bit more if you'd like it to be easier. The wider the sections are, the less complicated the pattern will be. Once you have your lines going this way, you are going to turn your tangle, and now you are going to intersect your original lines with perpendicular lines, and those lines are going to be about the same width apart. So at the end of this, you'll see it looks almost like a checkerboard. Now, once you have created your checkerboard, take your tangle, put it diagonal, and then you are going to create squares, kind of in a diamond shape. And these squares are going to go on the bottom center of each one of these individual squares that you have created. Now you might come down here and say, oh no, I can't see the bottom corner. That's okay, just imagine that it's there and create your square as though it was connecting to the bottom edge that you cannot see. Now, once you've created all of these squares, you're going to go ahead and color them in. There. So you can see a bit of a pattern starting to emerge. This next part is one of my favorite parts, because this is what suddenly makes this become a three-dimensional looking pattern. At the very top tip of each of your smaller black boxes, you are going to connect that corner to the top corner of the white boxes. And you'll see once I do this, it makes it look as though the black boxes are now the bottom of a three-dimensional box. Pretty neat pattern, huh? So I will let you go ahead and get caught up with that pattern, and then we will begin our next one. All right, so you completed your first Zentangle. Now we are going to turn our Zentangles And we are going to create another pattern. So you've got a corner right here, and we're going to begin in that corner, and you're going to create for yourself a curved line that goes up towards the top. And you'll see I chose to do a different line than where my pencil line already is. And that's okay, because if you don't want to use your original pencil line, if you decide you want it to be shaped a little bit differently, you can always go back and you can erase your pencil. From the same corner, I'm going to bring another line up, but I'm going to make it a little bit separated from my first line. So it almost looks like you've got a long, kind of an upside down triangle right here. It almost looks like a little dinosaur claw. And then from about the middle, I'm going to make another 2 lines, and they're going to curve in towards that one. And you'll see once I hit my original triangle, I stopped. And that's because what we're going to be doing is we're going to be overlapping. So we're layering them underneath. From this same point, you're going to make another line, and you're going to stop when you hit the last one. Then from that same point, you're going to make another line that goes across, and you're going to stop when you hit the last triangle. Then you'll make another line, and you'll make another line. And you get to a point where you just start going back and forth and back and forth, and it's not difficult. And then right about here, it starts getting a little harder because now all of your lines are going towards each other, kind of at the same angle. You know, it's not arched so much as it was up here. So we'll stop that one right about there. I don't think we're going to be able to get it much further than that. So you created one right there. And then we're going to turn your paper. And then we are going to create another one. So let's start this time from this corner, this empty corner. And let's go up towards the corner that you'd begun from last time. And then we're going to create a line that goes from the other corner that you began from and up towards this one. So these have become our new corners to start a new weave. So we're going to have 2 different weaves, and they're going to be going in different directions. So we have our original one, which was going this way. Now we have our next one, which is going this way. And you'll see I'm just weaving back and forth and back and forth. Until I reach the bottom, and then I might have to make it curved a little bit towards the inside. If you have some of your triangles from earlier or your squares that need to be colored in, you can always bring them down. So now when you look at it, there are 2 different weaves. There's a weave that goes this way, and there's one that goes this way. So to make your weaves look just a little bit more dimensional, we are going to put a shadow at the end where each one of our triangles comes up and hits the other one. So you'll see this one comes up right here. So we'll put a little shadow right there. This one comes up right there, so we'll put a little shadow. This one comes up here, so we'll put a little shadow right here. And my little shadows look like they're kind of in the same shape as those other upside down triangles. So they get a little bit wider towards the top, and then they taper down. So there is that weave going around. Now once we're completed with our two different designs, we can go back with our pencil and we can shade them in. With these ones, because we're trying to make them look like they're dimensional boxes that are dropping down onto the inside, we are going to pick a side of our box. I think for this one we're going to do the right side, and you will shade in that right side of the box. And that just helps to further the illusion that it's dropping down by giving it some kind of a consistent light source, a consistent area that the light's coming from that's creating this shadow as your box drops down. Now something that happens with Zentangles that isn't really the same thing that we would normally do with our other artwork is your light source does not have to be consistent throughout your entire Zentangle. So even though with me shading in my boxes on this side to make it look as though my light is coming from over here, and that way it's creating this shadow, I don't have to pretend as though my light is coming from the same place when I start shading in my woven pattern over here. There we go. So once you've shaded in the sides of all of your boxes, then you'll turn, and with our woven pattern here, we are going to start from the corners where the triangles taper off and get smaller, and we're going to make it darker in those corners, and then we're going to make it get lighter and lighter as it gets towards the portion where they intersect each other. So then we'll start over here in the corner as well. And as we get towards that top portion where they're intersecting, we'll get lighter and lighter. I think this spot right here where the two meet, we're going to go ahead and we're going to create a shadow underneath that makes it look like this one tangle is hovering above this other tangle. There we go. So congratulations, this is your first tangle. Once you're done, you get to find a spot in your tangle where you want to hide your initials. Let's see, I'll go ahead and I'll put my initials right down there. That's it. You successfully created your first Zentangle. I hope you enjoyed it more than anything. And don't worry, like I said, if it didn't turn out exactly the way that you wanted to, there are lots of tips and tricks. There are lots of places that you can go with your parents' permission. You can go to YouTube, you can go to several different sites and look up all the different types of tangles that they have. There are so many patterns out there, and they have step-by-step tutorials along the way to show you how to best create all those different patterns. So thank you for joining me today, and I will see you next time on The Locker.